Well, Congress has done at least something for agriculture thus far in its lame duck session. The House of Representatives recently voted in favor of establishing permanent normal trade relations with Russia. Joining us now with this week's Bottom Line is, of course, Neil Melancon. And Neil, as I understand it, if this new law does come to fruition, it will help U.S. poultry growers, but what about consumers out there right now?
Well, Mike, it will be good for consumers in the long run, but we have a long way to go before that happens. First, of course, the Senate has to pass its version of the Permanent Normal Trade Relations Bill, which will likely mean a resolutions committee will need to mediate. And with all the fiscal cliff stuff going on right now, it's not too high a priority, but the bill did pass by 365 to 43, which will hopefully signal bipartisan support and passage of the bill before the end of the year. Second, provided it does get passed, what it will mean is better trade conditions to a market where we already export $1.5 billion in ag products to Russia. Russia recently joined the World Trade Organization in August, and countries with better trade deals have better tariff arrangements there. And of course, Russia has about $30 billion worth of ag market there. That means our big competitors in South America, though, will have an advantage on us in getting their products into the markets for less. The other thing is we've got a lot of red tape left over from the Cold War that interferes with trade relations. PNTR with Russia would mean that trade issues could be dealt with without having to deal with other political issues that crop up, and that's hugely important at a time when Russia is still dealing with human rights issues such as propping up the regime in Syria and a political regime at home there that more closely resembles the czars of old than democracy. The bottom line is, once we get going with PNTR, we'll still have to deal with a lot of market inequalities until competition can even that out. In years where they have a good wheat crop, for instance, they could flood our market, and while that might be good for consumers, it would hurt our farmers. Overall, though, this will pressure Russia into having higher food safety standards and lower tariffs for U.S. products, Mike, something our overall health and economy will benefit from in the long run.
And I know a lot of Louisiana poultry growers are going to be watching this in Washington. Neil Melancon, thanks. And remember, you can listen to any of Neil's daily radio reports on the Louisiana Farm Bureau Agri-News radio network. For a list of stations where you can tune in or listen online, click on over to our website, twilatv.org, and click on the LF Barn link. That does it for this edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Be sure to join us next week when we'll head back into Holly Clegg's Trim and Terrific Kitchen for the last time this year, where Holly and AJ will have some holiday recipes you're sure to want as part of your Christmas dinner. And we'll also take a look back at some of the more interesting stories that made the news here on This Week in Louisiana Agriculture in 2012. Until then, you can watch any of our stories online. You know the address, twilatv.org. For all of us here at This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hope to see you again right here next week.